Hello, everybody. I see we got a good crowd already. We got Keith, Gunther, Crash is here. Greek was first. Dang. Hold on. Look what I know how to do. See that?
Ooh.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh, Crypto Gale is here. What's up, Mitch? Jukebox, never seen you in here. It's good to see you, buddy. Neil. All right. What's Mitch saying? They've already changed the name of the Discord group. I think I'll get away with
Ban him! Ban him! Get rid of him!
Where's the ban button?
I don't know.
Yanni, what's
We'll,
up, buddy? What's up, Teddy One? All right. Well, Moongod, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Just allergies are brutal this time of year for me. So I've literally just been like downing allergy medicine every single day, getting my vitamin D since I can't really be outside without my eyes basically fusing shut overnight. So yeah, it's been fun, all of the good stuff that go along with it. But
Yeah,
all in
good
all,
time.
not bad. We're making progress, and weather's getting a little bit better over here where I'm at. I don't know if it's the same for you,
It's
but
getting hot. It's getting hot over here.
yeah,
Yeah.
starting to get out of the house a little more, do a little bit of hiking while it's not up to like a billion degrees outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Nice.
we can probably just jump right into it here since it's not going to be like a crazy over the top um like big numbers kind of day or anything like that. It's more just going to be, we're going to talk about obviously the rename and why we kind of did that. Going to be going over some of the updates, some of the finalized tokenomics and things like that. I know anytime I say that, people kind of panic and they're like, "Oh, Matt said nothing's changing," but we just wanted to kind of provide a little more insight as to kind of why we're adjusting the way some of like the taxes, fees, and stuff like that are going to be happening. We're not adding anything new that is going to surprise anybody. We're just kind of changing the way certain allocations are going to better benefit the project, and that's really kind of what it comes down to. So
Sounds
um,
good.
we'll kind of get into all that, go over some of the vaults and the way the DApp is going to kind of work, and some of the access points and things like that, allowing people to kind of really set up some of the stuff that we feel is going to be kind of the linchpin for our new system that we have coming out. But yeah, we'll jump into it really quick. We'll go over the numbers for the Prisma One NFTs because even though we are changing the name of the project, it is going to be a situation where that name will stay unless we decide to do a remint at some point in time. Which who knows for that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, basically. Uh, the numbers have been posted up in the new Prisma / RayFi Discord because that's the rename. We're going with Ray Finance, RayFi for short,
Cool.
and yeah, the numbers have been posted there. We did about 0.5% this past week without compounding. So it's about $145 on the Ray side of things. And on the NFT side of things is about $567. The reason for that is we still do have a couple of those long trades that are open that we've been doing some dollar cost average on. Most of those will be closed out within the 3,400 to 3,600 range on Ethereum. So, you know, nothing really
Okay.
outside of expectation there. We're kind of almost back up in that range again already. So, yeah, great positioning there. Um, you know, great setup that we're
Okay.
in.
So
We're
when
very
those
happy about it.
when those close, when those close, we'll see some
Some
like a
pretty good
good
numbers.
week. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Right on.
Um,
Right on.
I will say this much: the NFT side will continue to accrue and farm. Once we close out a good chunk of the trades on this side, or all of the trades on the Ray side of things, We are going to halt the trading on that one though. And basically the reason for that is we don't want to be stuck or inside of a trade whenever we're trying to go through and launch the project. So we're figuring, within the next few weeks here, it'll definitely be out of a trade, and we'll just kind of pause trading on the Ray side of things just for a brief period of time. And that'll basically be it. So yeah. So with that being said, as you guys have probably already noticed on the Discord side of things, we have updated the name to Ray Finance. We figure just kind of sticking with reward asset yield as kind of like the main 3 words that were kind of important that really kind of defined us changing the name from ITF to Ray in the first place. We figured we'll just kind of embrace that and stick with it and transition to that name. After unfortunately a much larger project than ours went through a very, very large exploit of about $12 million on their liquid staking platform. And it was an unfortunate circumstance where, in crypto, there's a lot of very negative things that can kind of stick with a name. And we've seen some of those things and how they kind of carried over into other projects and processes that people, they'll look at something and they'll be like, oh, I remember hearing about this project that, that had this massive exploit, or I remember hearing about this project that, was a rug pull. Obviously it's, the same thing. I'm not going to look into it or find out anything else. So we decided to make that adjustment. So yeah, basically we just wanted to kind of go that route with it.
Yeah.
So yep, that's pretty much the reason for the name change. We're not going to be changing anything else. The logos and everything like that are going to stay the same. We didn't really want to, totally overhaul everything. We didn't feel there was a need to do that. We have a very, stable baseline for our project, very stable backbone for our project. And we didn't think it was necessary for us to, make some crazy over the top change. So we didn't. We're just going through a rename. So some of you may have already noticed as well too. The website has also changed. It's gone from Prisma.fund to RayFi.fund. The charts basically same thing. Instead of it being charts.prisma.fund, it's going to be charts.rayfi.fund. So not a huge change. Again, we didn't want to go anything really too crazy over the top. We've also updated our Twitter and our YouTube as well, and we're going to be revamping and kind of posting a lot more tweets, doing a lot more informational videos, especially as we move into the the relaunch side of things. Going to be doing a lot of AMAs as well. I'm sure some of you have probably noticed our white paper has been updated. Some of the links may still not work. We're in the process of updating a lot of that stuff, but we should have everything good to go by the end of the week here. So yeah, renames in process. A good chunk of it's already been done. We're still finalizing a couple of places. So if you guys, as our communities, happen to see anything that we've missed, let us know, and we'll get it updated. So
yeah. Let me try something real quick.
Sure.
Okay. That's not doing anything. Okay. I was going to see if I could put something up on the screen. I'll figure that out another time.
Okay.
Anyways, so Sky Dreams had a question for you. Hey, Moongod, thought you said you'll leave a certain amount in the Ray side to continue trading.
Yes, that is correct. But it's a situation where we wanted to make sure that we're closing all of the trades out that we had first, and then pulling out the funds that would be applicable for the new liquidity pool, and then we'll just continue trading with the other funds. So, as an example of such, the way that both the Ray and the NFT side trade is that it will open and adjust trades based on how much funds are actually in there. It's better to just update the funds in between trades, though, versus, saying, oh, hey, we're going to put, say, I don't know, $10,000 in the liquidity pool. We're just going to extract that in the middle of trading and just throw it in there. That can be a little more risky because the bot is going to reassess what's going on in that situation and make adjustments based on that as well. So it's easier for us to just pull the funds and make that adjustment while trades are not going on. So, yep, that's pretty much what will happen. Effectively, we'll finish up the trades. We'll pull whatever funds we'll need for like the LP and some marketing and stuff like that. And then we'll turn the bot back on, let that continue doing its thing. And basically at that point in time, those other funds will be set aside in our multi-sig to set up the LP and kind of go from there. So yeah, nothing crazy over the top.
What's the amount that you're going to put in the LP?
I think it was about 10,000. We're still kind of trying to do the math and figure that out. I can't remember what the exact amount is, but that sounds pretty close. I know we've just got to do some final math on it with, tokens in the LP versus tokens we're giving out kind of thing to try and get that price point as close as we can. If it ends up being a situation where, we're not able to get it kind of spot on, I think the route that we've ended up deciding to go with in terms of providing, holders their allocation is going to be a 1-to-1 token. So in that aspect, it'd be a situation where like if you had 100,000 tokens before, you're going to get 100,000 in the V2 side of things. I think that's going to end up being the easier route to go with that. Just because we took the snapshot, we've got the information from the pink sale side of things. It's going to be much easier for us to just do the 1-to-1, given the the difficulty we'd kind of face with, oh, hey, did you buy in at 5 cents? Did you buy in the pink sale? Did you not even get to claim in the pink sale? Did you like 8 other processes? So it's just easier for us to kind of just do a 1-to-1 token and just kind of go from there. So
yeah, all
yep.
right,
Yeah.
all right. And I had another question. What if you put 10,000 into the LP hypothetically? That would leave what, like 20,000 roughly for the investments?
Correct. Yeah, we're looking right now at having hopefully about 20,000 remain in the Ray, which would mean at this point in time, I believe we'd have about 9,000 that would go roughly towards LP/marketing. Because again, as a reminder, it's not just the LP. We're also going to be doing some marketing as well too. We're going to pay for some AMAs. We're going to have a couple of people do some audits and things like that as well too. So it is a situation where it's like we are going to pull a couple of funds out there, and we're looking at that total amount to be hopefully about $10,000, with leaving about $20,000 in the Ray side of things, still farming. Right now, it would be closer to about $9,000 is what we'd pull, because we want to keep, if we can, about $20,000 in Ray. So yeah, that's kind of the range.
If you say 20,000 in Ray, that means in the trading bot, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Or is Ray like a combination of a bunch of things?
Yeah. So right now, what we're looking to do is we want to keep as much as we can in the bot, because the returns on that are doing extremely well. We're very, very happy with that. We would take any newly acquired funds at that point in time. Once we relaunch at that point, any newly acquired funds at the relaunch. So at that point in time, all of those would go into the other diversified assets that we're planning on having. So like LP farming, liquid staking, dollar cost average, stuff like that. Go that whole route with it there. So we're not looking to withdraw everything out of Ray, break it up into these smaller segments. We're trying to keep what we can within the Ray trading bot, and then we'll have the LP side of things. Now, here's where I guess some of the naming is going to be a little bit confusing, because we just call Ray just everything that is the farming side of things. But I guess to kind of make it a little more clear, we've got the Ray bot, and then we've got the NFT bot. So On the Ray side of things, that will include the Ray bot, LP farming, you know, staking, dollar cost average, everything like that across the board. So you can consider all of that under the umbrella of the Ray side of things. But specifically, what we're looking to do is keep 20,000 or roughly right around there in the Ray bot. And then
Awesome.
all newly acquired funds would start to filter into the like Ray LP or Ray dollar cost average or whatever you kind of want to call it, to understand that it's like on the Ray side of things, in that farming side of things. So yeah,
Right.
we just call it the Ray bot because it makes it easier to discern and differentiate between the Ray side versus the NFT side. And so that's kind of why it's got that name. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the breakdown. And what we're looking to do is we want to keep the bot just churning the way it is. Keep a good chunk of the funds in there if we can, and just kind of go from that route. So, yep,
Yeah.
that's kind of the direction we're looking ahead.
Sounds good to me. Sky Dreams is asking, so would profits from trading bot be part of payout every month along with that of the LP staking, etc. farming profit?
That is correct. Yes, it would be. Yeah. So as an example of such, just to kind of briefly go over it, if the Ray side of things, if we did $1,000 in, in the month, $1,000 would be what would go into, the payout allocation and structure, just from the bot side of things. That's not including anything from LP farming, dollar cost average, staking, all of that across the board. We're going to be doing all of that and basically take all of the rewards and all the yield that we've earned there. It's going to get filtered into the system, and then all of it's going to be converted into stable coin in the form of USDC, unless something else comes out there, because I know like XRP is doing a stable coin. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, as of right now, it'll be USDC, and then that'll be dispensed out to people in the form of, as a baseline USDC, or if they're staked in a vault, whatever token would be associated to the vault. So, yep, that's kind of the breakdown there. So,
Cool.
absolutely, that's
All right.
pretty much 100% spot on. Just providing a little more insight as to what's happening there. I did want to just go back up a little bit and answer Mitch's earlier question, that are you able to share what kind of percentage returns we'll be looking at
Yep.
with the current positions? I'm not sure off the top of my head. We have a different process for the way that we've been opening up some of these. So I haven't asked Callie about it. I've been busy trying to get everything renamed. So that one's on me. I will get that information and swing back to you guys. I think, again, since this is something where it's not going to be like multiple weeks at a time, we have a different way that we're doing these. They're broken up and segmented versus just being like one massive trade the way it was before. It'll be smaller, more prevalent returns. So like right now, in effect, we have like, I think it's like 6 or 7 different iterations of various trades opened up in different like values, so to speak. And those things are all, instead of it just being like $1 cost average, we had a couple of instances where they were going on at the same time. So like, as an example, we were kind of basically working on like a grid bot structure to a certain extent. It was like a hybrid grid trading structure. And we would dollar cost average on smaller amounts. So effectively, it was a situation where as we opened up, let's say, I don't know, 5 or 6 positions or whatever in that 3,400 to 3,600 range, when it dropped out of there, it was a case where we picked up a couple of other positions to kind of offset that and to bring that value up. So we could have one that'll return like 0.25. We could have another that'll return like 0.4. We could have another that'll return like 0.5, so on and so forth, all the way up. So it's like once those start to kind of close out, it'll be a situation where, we can see what the all-encompassing total would be. Now, if we happen to shoot all the way up to like 3,800 or whatever on the Ethereum side of things, that would close out all of them. We could see like 5 or 6% or something like that. but it would be like 5 or 6% over like multiple trades. So like I said, it could be 5%, but we could have one that's like 0.35, another that's like 0.45, another that's 0.5, so on and so forth as it kind of scales its way up. So
Right.
yeah, it's not exactly the same way we were trading before, and that's meant more to protect us from a crazy market movement, especially as price is moving up. And so a good example of that would be, we had that 10% dip on Ethereum and we were totally fine. We were A-okay. Didn't have to worry about any real, movements within the system on our side. Everything was fine. Did some dollar cost average, opened up some lower positions, and then the moment that the price just came back up, we were able to get some good profit out of that as well too. We've held on to a couple of those because we're waiting for us to kind of get back up to that higher level. We don't want to, move out of those too quickly, but that's part of the reason why we kind of made the adjustment here is, wanted to make sure we weren't missing out on anything. And it allowed us to be in a much safer position as the market possibly could have kept moving up. So yeah, that's kind of where we've been at, so to speak. Hopefully that answers everything.
Yeah. All right. So Skydream says, so I suppose there is a structure to keep reinvesting into the RayBot and grow it.
Yeah. Basically there's two sides to it, and this will kind of go into the update to the payout structure and how that's been changed as well. But there's basically two sides to the way that it's going to work in terms of assets coming into Ray. We basically have the value that's already currently in the RayBot that is farming, and then as people buy and sell Prisma, so used to saying that, as people buy and sell RayFi, which is going to be our new ticker symbol, they will, have the 4% buy fee, 4% sell fee. A portion of those will go into the Ray side of things for the, the RayBot, LP farming, liquid staking, dollar cost average. Those will accrue and, get rewards. And once those rewards are kind of, brought in, again, we convert them to USDC, and then we go through and do the payout. The payout we've updated recently from being a 30% going to holders, 30% going into reinvestment, 20% going into LP, 10% going to treasury, 10% going to team. We adjusted that to 40% going to holders. So 40% will be paid out. 40% will be reinvested. We've removed the LP allocation. We just didn't feel like we needed it. And a lot of times, having something in that payout structure that works in that facet generally just turns into exit liquidity for other people. So we'd much rather just not do that. We'd much rather just be in a position where we could say, just reinvest more. It just ends up being more in the long run. That 20% allocation basically just meant that we were hampering, returns anywhere from, I think it was like almost as high as like 2 to 3% each month. And it was like a 2 to 3% increase, in payouts that we were just basically effectively like losing out of. It was a crazy amount. I know it sounds weird to kind of say that, like, how is 10% 2 to 3%? But it's like, you got to think it's like 10%, but that's like 2 to 3% of like the total amount. So it ends up being a lot more. And so we realized that, hey, it wasn't worth it for us to do something like this, especially when you account for like people just potentially selling. So we just rather go the other direction with it. So like I said, we're doing 40% payout to holders, 40% is going to be reinvested, and then we're going to have 10% to the treasury, 10% to team. And that's basically the way that structure is going to work. Yeah. So that was kind of the big adjustment that we made.
When you say 40% is reinvested, What?
Yeah.
How does that break down between like the trading bot and LP farming
Yeah.
and the other stuff?
Yeah. So currently, right now, if memory serves, and I'd have to double check our numbers,
Mhm.
but I believe it's either going to be 30 or 40% is going to be going into the bot. And then it'll be either 30 or 40% is going into like various LP farming. And then I believe it's 25% is going to go into like stablecoin lending and stuff like that. Just, effectively just various like lending platforms that are going to have like very, we'll call, nominal returns, like nothing crazy over the top. We're not going to be doing any kind of borrowing, but these are still places where you're going to earn anywhere from like 10 to 20% on the year. So it's not going to be crazy over the top, but it's still going to be enough where it's like, hey, these are consistent. And, with some of these lending platforms as well, too, you can also be paid out um, in other assets. So, like a great example of this is one of them that I was testing out, paid out in like Bitcoin and Ethereum and BNB as well. So it's a situation where I originally had like, you know, $3 or $4 that was in there in terms of rewards. And then when everything pumped these last few months, it was a situation where that $3 or $4 turned into like 10. And I was very happy about that. So
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
oh,
cool.
cool, this is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I believe it's 25% is going to go to that, and then we have 15% that's going to go to dollar cost average. Included in that dollar cost average, it'll be things like, again, additional staking if it's available and out there. So a great example of this is we could buy cake token, and we could stake the cake token and get more cake token and continue to dollar cost average cake token, or we could dollar cost average Ethereum and liquid stake it, or BNB and stake it as well. And there's a lot of things that we could kind of do in that aspect and just get a lot more out of it. So yeah, that's kind of the way that we've broken down the structure at this point. And LP farming is going to be all in major blue chips. So it isn't going to be a situation where we're going to be doing like, oh, we're going to pick some degen LP farm that's going to promise us 3,000% returns on a token that's going to go down 99.99% in a week. It's like
Mhm.
that's not farming. That's just a hope and a dream that this thing is going to go up. So yeah, most of the LP farming is going to be like with your BNB, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum. Again, we may do something with like Cake Token. We may even pop in there and grab some like for token or something like that as well too, just to kind of a couple of those partner projects where we can just really kind of sit on some of those and just have a few things that we know LP wise are going to be great, but then we also know dollar cost average, these are going to do great for us as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of a lot that we're building up around those processes.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I can't, as much as I wish I could, I can't go into like super super detailed with. But I will say in a couple of the LP farms that I've been testing this past month, and the month's not even over yet from when I was testing it. With the ranges that I was testing in, did just shy of about 6%. So
In
that's
1 month?
in 1 month. Yeah. So I'm
Holy
good at what I
crap.
do, you know. I spend a lot of time doing this, and this is why I don't get to go into like, some of these crazy wild degen plays as much as I'd love, as much as I used to when I was first getting into crypto. I
Yeah.
spend a lot of time and a lot of the money that I've, managed to make on the crypto side of things, testing a lot of this stuff out. So we're not testing any of this stuff with actual project funds. This is my personal, funds that I put into this stuff to test out, to make sure it works before we even involve the project at all. And that's one of the things that I do on my side. So yeah, we
Wow.
did about
6% a month. Is that consistent, or is that like a good month?
so this is the past month. So this is a new strategy that I started testing. And it's done about 5.7% with about 4 more days left. So it'll get to just about 6% is what it should be. So yeah, that's Did I lose you there, Oliver?
Could you say that again? My internet was getting all
Getting a little,
screwy for a
yeah.
second there.
So basically, it's just a new strategy I've been kind of trying out on my side, and just kind of changing up the way some of the, um, you know, the some of the way that I'm allocating some of the farming on some LP stuff, and I did about 6%. It's about 5.7% right now, but I've still got about 4 days left, and it should hit right at about 6%. It'll be just under it, I think. I think it'll probably hit like 5.9% is what it should be, give or take, just a little bit.
Yeah. Is
So
that
yeah.
so? And you probably answered this when my internet was screwing up when you did. Do you think that'll be like a consistent thing, or is that just it was a good month?
I think it was definitely a good month, but that's kind of the range that we're aiming for. So,
Cool.
about I would say about 3 to 7% in LP farming per month is rock solid. Because with the way that V3 liquidity works at this point in time, you always run the risk of it popping out of your range. Once that kind of happens, you have to go and rebalance everything. So that can kind of, depending on how quickly you can do that and how long you can stay in a range for, the more that you're going to earn. So the setup that I had never went out of range in the last 30 days here. So we were definitely in a really, really good position. What we would basically do at the end of the month is we'd pull out all the rewards, we'd rebalance, and it would be a case where we'd have a new range set up at that point in time if we believe we need to make an adjustment. If we don't think we need to make an adjustment, it would be a situation where we just stick with what we have and just kind of, we'd be right exactly in the pocket that we kind of want to be in. So far it's been a situation where this past month, while I've been testing out this new strategy, we've been right in the pocket that we wanted to be in. And, hopefully we can continue to maintain that. Does that mean every single month we'll do that? No. We could do more, we could do less, but I'm very, very happy with those returns. We're, like I said, we're at about 5.7% right now, which is crazy good in my
That's
opinion.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
That's freaking awesome.
And again, that's only accounting for like
and
one source. That's not even accounting for,
so,
the Ray bot or anything like that. So that's just from one
right.
source we did that. So if the Ray bot this month ends up doing 8%, that means it averages out to about 7%, 7.5%, well, not 7.5. It'll average out closer to about 7%, which is very solid. Who wouldn't want 7% returns on a month? So
yeah. Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, fantastic.
All right.
Did anybody have any other questions?
Cool. So I think next thing we can kind of talk about real quick is going to be the DApp and the vault, just to kind of go over that information. I believe we're going to have, unless I'm wrong here, Oliver, and correct me if I am, I believe we're going to have all 4 tokens, for you guys in our vaults.
Are you guys able to do 2 token in a vault?
I can't imagine we wouldn't be able to. Effectively, my understanding with the way that the system would work is it would just have to go through standard routing. So it would be similar to, like, here's an example. Let's say you don't have any USDT or whatever it is, but you have BNB and you wanted to buy RayFi. You would just do BNB to RayFi, and Pancake Swap would route it,
Right.
BNB to USDC to RayFi, and get it like that. So we should be able to do the same thing for 2 token, hopefully, which is we set up the contract to basically do the buy through Pancake Swap. It would buy 1 token. 1 token would then be, purchasing 2 token, and then 2 token would be dropped into people's wallets.
That would be amazing.
Kind of go from there.
That would be awesome. I didn't think we could do 2 tokens. That's fantastic news.
Yeah. So I mean that's the hope and the dream is that we can do that. Yeah. We'll test it out, and before we have it go live, we'll test it out, and we'll do it with like a small amount of tokens to make sure it works, because we can fire these off whenever we want. Is the way the contracts work. So it's not a big deal on our side. So Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
so, okay, well, we got Sky Dreams asking a question. I have a question about the contract after Sky Dreams.
Sure.
He says, how do we grow the Ray side through profits put into treasury or when more people buy more Ray token?
Both. Yeah. So as people buy the RayFi token, a portion of the taxes, the portion of the 4% that we charge in taxes, will go to the actual farming strategies within Ray, or the Ray farming side, however you want to kind of call it to kind of make it easier for you. On top of that, as well, of the returns that we get every single month, 40% of that will be reinvested and go back into Ray as well. So, like if we do $1,000, $400 goes back into Ray. If we do $10,000, $4,000 goes back into Ray, so on and so forth. The reason for that is we wanted to kind of have this constant reinvestment, because once we get up to a certain amount within the Ray side of things, between the Ray bot, the LP farming, the liquid staking, lending, dollar cost average, all of that built in. Once we get to a certain dollar amount, we want to transition into effectively what would have been our V2 will now be our V3. We're not going to change the contract or do anything like that. We're basically just going to remove the taxes, and it'll be a situation where we'll adjust the payout structure as well too. So the way it would work is once we hit, say, I don't know, $2 million. I'm just throwing out a number. We haven't decided what it's going to be yet. We would transition to like 70% gets paid out to holders, 10% goes into reinvestment, 10% goes to treasury, 10% still goes to the team, kind of thing. But we'd be bumping up from 40%, going out to holders to 70% going out to holders. So it'd be a much more drastic increase there. And that's kind of the end goal, is that we want to move to a
And
period.
also,
Go ahead, Oliver.
and also you said that by V3 the tax would be taken off.
Correct. Yeah. So with V3, effectively, there'd be no buy or sell tax at that point in time anymore. Again, I'm calling it a V3, but we literally can just flip a switch in our code and turn off the taxes. Like we have it set where it can't go over a certain amount. I believe that amount is set to 10%. I think we're planning on just adjusting that down to 8%, because we're never going to do more than 8%. And effectively, if we want, we could just turn taxes off at any time. Yeah. Oliver, your internet's great.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
He keeps freezing for me. Is he freezing for anybody else? Maybe it's me. Maybe my internet's the one that's down here. I don't know. Can you guys hear me, or can you hear Oliver? What's going on? All right, so Oliver's broken. I'll just keep talking then, because that's what I'm good at. So as for the like the DApp, the vaults, and things like that, basically it's going to end up being a couple of the staple vaults that we're going to have just the gate. So we're going to have your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your BNB as kind of like the baseline there. We are also going to have a RayFi reinvestment vault as well. And then we are planning on having whatever vaults that we can set up for the one token team as well. So an example of that would be, obviously, we're going to have one token. We're going to have 3 token. We're going to have 4 token just straight out the gate. We've got to make sure that the contract works for 2 token. I can't imagine it's going to be too difficult, but we'll make sure to test that out and see if we can get that set up to, to work. If it does, not a big deal. We'll have all 4. If we can't, we'll for sure have 3. We'll have the 1 token, 3 token, and 4 token. Basically the way that it'll work is you'll take your RayFi, and you'll just pop into the DApp. You'll connect your wallet to the DApp, and once you're in there, you can go to our Vault tab, and you can basically allocate however much RayFi token you want into each given vault. So you don't have to throw everything in one, specific vault. If you want to, you can. It's not required. You can break it up and allocate it how you want. You could have 10% go into the reinvestment. You could have 20% go into one token. You could have 10% go into Bitcoin. You could have 30% go into 4 token, and then you could have the rest just pay you out in USDC. And so it's kind of however you want to break it up. You can put as much or as little as you want in each one. You can adjust and reallocate at any time. We don't have any fees for doing so. We don't have any transfer fees either. So you can move stuff around between wallets. You can move stuff around between vaults. You can do all of that across the board without having to worry about any kind of additional cost just kind of, hitting you out of nowhere. That's one of the things that we really just kind of are not fans of, is like, surprise, you buy into a project and now you've got like 8 other different fees that you have to worry about just to partake in this one thing. And it's like, you bought in, you paid 5% fees on the buy-in. Now to stake, you have to pay 2%. To unstake, you pay 3%. To claim, you pay 5% on whatever you're claiming. It's like, that's so ridiculous. And we hated everything about that. And, so many DeFi projects have all of these, secondary and tertiary and, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers of fees, where it's like, you just don't want to deal with them anymore. So yeah, we don't have any of that stuff. We don't have any lockup timers. We kind of took a lot of the very, basic structures that like 1, 2, 3, and 4 token have, where it's like, yeah, it's just one simple process. You have one fee going in, one fee coming out, if there's that at all, and just easy, over and done with kind of thing. So yeah, we wanted to have the vaults, basically be the same. So
I was gone when you maybe answered this. Does that mean that there's no staking fee, like when you put your tokens in a certain vault?
Correct. Yeah. So there's no staking or unstaking fees. There's no transfer fees. There's no lockup times. All of it across the board is set up to be as friendly to user as possible. Fantastic. Obviously, the only stipulation would be the fees that you're going to have to pay for gas, for interacting with the contract. And what I mean in that aspect is like, it could be like 7 cents or something like that, or 4 cents or whatever it's going to be. But we're not going to charge you some percentage of, what you should have as your allocation to just be able to partake in the ecosystem. And that's one of the big things for us as well too, is that we have 2 fees, and that's it. We have a fee when you buy and a fee when you sell, and that's it. You never have to deal with any of that other stuff with us. Again, basically the same way that all of the 1 token projects work. So 1 token's got their buy and sell fee. 2 token, I think, has a buy and sell fee. 3 token, same thing. 4 token, same thing. It's all just, that's it. You don't have to worry about some other layer of process that you have to deal with. So yeah, we took that same mentality, brought it over here as well. So
simple is good.
Absolutely.
What does Yanni say? Simple is the ultimate complexity, or something like that.
Yeah, like people try and find these weird ways to make complex things simple, and it's like sometimes simple is just simple, and then sometimes simple can be way more complicated than it should.
Yeah.
So always fun. But
all right. So did you answer TJ already? Did we hear a timeline?
No, I haven't. I didn't see that one. Do we hear a timeline for V2 launch already? So not yet. That was actually going to be next part of the process here. So we are finalizing development of the DApp side of things, just doing some final testing. V2 launch will happen probably in the 3rd week of May. That is the goal right now, is week 3 in May, because we're coming up very quickly to the end of April. We're finishing some code and stuff like that. 2, we want to have plenty of time to have the code re-audited and then have peer review and do other additional audits as well too. We've talked to, I think, 6 different teams / people that are going to be peer reviewing. I think it's somewhere around there. And then we still got Solid Proof, who's doing a re-audit for us as well at no cost. So we're getting a second audit done from them, no cost to us.
Nice.
And then we've got a couple of other teams and a couple of other people that, that are really strong devs that are going to be auditing our code, like I said, as part of peer review. So yeah, we wanted to give more than enough time for people to kind of look through that and to go over it and give us any feedback. We can then adjust, and then we can go through and kind of go from there again. So, yep.
All right.
Let's see. And then I think Sky asked, no fee to buy in before launch, right? I mean, you can't buy in at this point in time. It's a case where the original launch that we had with Pink Sale, that obviously didn't have a fee associated with it in any way, shape, or form. So if you bought in then, you're not going to get hit with some new fee when we launch RayFi in May. So I don't know a better way to kind of answer that. I'm sorry about my confusion on this side. There's no other surprise fee that you're going to get hit with. Like if you're going to buy at the launch of RayFi, you'll see a 4% fee there. If you're still going to be if you're going to be getting the RayFi airdrop, there's not going to be a fee associated to that. Hopefully that's the best way I can answer that.
He may have thought there was going to be another pre-sale.
No, we're not going that direction. The community is very much has spoken to us about just wanting to launch, so we're going that direction with it. It's going to be an airdrop. It's going to be fun.
Cool. Yep. All right. Gibson asks, is there a way to get the dividends in RayFi token so it reinvests automatically back into the RayFi token?
So there is an auto reinvest vault. So yeah, if you want to, so just to kind of go over the vaults again really quick. The first vault is going to be the auto reinvest. So if you stake your RayFi in that vault, it'll take the USDC payout that you're supposed to get and buy you more RayFi, just the first payout that we do there. And then progressively every payout that you still remain staked in that vault or however you end up allocated there. Same thing for all of the other vaults that are associated with it as well too. The biggest difference that you will see is that the other vaults that are associated with those tokens will just be airdropped to you. So it'll be a situation where, like, if you are in the BTCB vault, that vault will drop BTCB into your wallet. I believe the reinvestment vault, we are working on setting up a process so it will just stay staked in that vault. So like, let's say you had 10,000 RayFi tokens and you put the 10,000 in the reinvestment vault, the auto reinvestment vault. If your new amount of tokens would be 11,000, it would just be 11,000 in the auto reinvestment vault instead of 10,000 and then 1,000 in your wallet. It would just remain in that auto reinvest vault. So that's the goal of what we're trying to do there. Now, I will say this much. It's something where, there's a lot that we're still, doing some testing on and things like that. So it may end up just being a situation where it gets airdropped into your wallet. Again, the positive with that would still be is if it's not something we can do right away with that, but we can still just set up that vault contract. We don't have any transfer fees. You don't have to worry about staking or unstaking fees, and there's no lockup timers as well too. So even if it's something where it gets airdropped into your wallet, you could just at any point in time just come in and just stake it into the reinvestment vault with whatever new allocation you've got, and it doesn't do anything to you. It doesn't cause you to, have to do anything new. You go from, 10,000 oh, 1,000 got dropped into your wallet. You come into the DApp, connect, you just deposit the additional 1,000. Now you've got 11,000 in the reinvestment vault. So yeah, that would be worst case scenario. But last time I checked, we had everything in the auto reinvest vault working. Obviously, we'll just have to retest with new token. But yeah, that should take us like no more than a day. Like last time we did it, we we set up the contract on the test net so I could just test this out at like random times doing like a bunch of crazy stuff because I work in IT. So I do a lot of just like back end brute force testing and breaking of things. And basically we just created like 1 trillion tokens on the test net. So we could basically just go through and let me just do like, yeah, let me put it here and then boom, fire off the contract. And then like while the contract's firing off, I'm going to move tokens out to do this other thing over here. And just to make sure that we didn't run into anything that was unexpected. And so, yeah, we basically did a ton of testing and things like that. And if memory serves, and it's been a while since I've messed with that, there was no issue with the auto reinvest. It basically was, hey, you had, 10,000 tokens in here. We fired off the thing. The contract went through, got more of the Prisma tokens, based on whatever the price was set to, and just auto reinvested them right into that same vault under your wallet address. So, yeah, that's
Cool.
hopefully that answers. I know it's a bit long winded, but it's kind of complicated, and that's about as much as I can, explain that in an easy way. So sorry about the chaos if that's a little much there.
So it can auto reinvest. Awesome.
Yeah, that is again, that is the last time we tested that. We have to retest it with the new code and everything, but yes, I believe that should be totally fine with no issue. So
cool. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So yeah, no pink sale this time, guys. It is just going to launch.
Yep. And so I did want to bring up something really quick here, just in terms of launch. Since we are launching in the middle of May, it would be a case where the first payout would be the basically after the first full month of farming. So what that means is that we're going to have the project launch in May, probably like I said about week 3 of May. We'd farm the rest of May, we'd farm June, and the payout for at the beginning of July would be for June and May at that point in time. Like, the from relaunch day 1, rest of May, all of June, that gets paid out early July, probably like July 1, July 2. And then obviously July, farms, and then July gets paid out beginning of August, so on and so forth all the way through. Now, again, even though I will say this much, even though payouts may not occur exactly like, July 1 or August 1 or something like that, it might be August 2nd or something, we are basically going to have the funds pulled and the snapshots taken prior to the end of the month, just so we can ensure that, hey, we've got the right dollar amount for these. So that's basically what will happen at that point in time, which is why, that last day of the month, we're going to go through and, we'll pull out all of the rewards, get them all converted over to USDC. Once that's all completed, it'll be a situation where we'll just basically go through and, get everything set up. And then probably the next day or the following day after that, that's when the reward distribution would occur and everybody get their payouts based on whatever's going on there. So yeah, that's kind of the process for how that payout will work. I will say this much. It will be a situation as time kind of goes on. You will definitely look over how often we're going to be doing payouts. And what I mean in that aspect is we definitely have a feeling like this is going to grow and grow exponentially as time goes on. So if we get to the point where I'm going to just use this as an example, let's say within like the first 2, like let's say 2 years down the road, we're at a period of time where we're doing, $200,000 a month in returns, we may not want to sit on that much money. Like, let's say we're doing 50 grand every single week. Insane numbers. I'd love for us to be doing that. But if we get to that point where we're doing, like, say, even $5,000 a week, we may decide it's better for us to do a payout every single week instead of just waiting and doing one lump sum at the end of the month. For two reasons that's beneficial. One, you guys get much more frequent payouts. Two, we're able to reinvest a lot faster at that point in time, which is going to increase things. Instead of doing it every single month, we could do it like every week. Again, as long as we're hitting certain thresholds of like dollar amounts coming in, it would be beneficial for us to make that adjustment. And then from there, we can kind of base things off of that as well too. Because, you know, like me personally, I don't want to be sitting on $200,000 every single month. I don't want to even be sitting on like $20,000 every single month and just having to wait on that. I'd much rather just start paying people out, you know? And I don't think anybody complain and be like, how dare you pay me out faster than I was expecting?
Keep my money.
Yeah. You hold on to this. Don't give it to me. So yeah, no, that's something that we have built into our setup as well too. So if we get to a point where, and that's a good thing for us to have happen, but if we get to a point where, you know, we're making enough where we can do, like, you know, payouts every other week instead of every single month, or payouts every week, that'd absolutely be something we could do without much of an issue at all. So that's kind of, you know, the end goal that we're looking at here is we'd love to be doing enough where we can just really start to kind of pay out a lot to holders, you know, every other week, every week. You know, if we ever get to the point where we can pay out holders every single day, boy, I'd be the happiest guy in the world. So
that's awesome. I love hearing that. I love hearing talk about like where this is going. Like, you know, there's a lot of people who can see that, like see a year or two in the future where, you know, this thing has grown exponentially and, you know, the payouts are, you know, really, really nice. So very cool. It's good. It's fun to hear that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. To answer Skydream's question though, there will not be any additional pink sale. That is correct. So no other pink sale. That's not to say that at some point in time down the road, if we release some other token or project or some other thing, that we won't do a pink sale again. Specifically for RayFi, there will be no pink sale. So it's going to be an airdrop. Everybody's just going to get their tokens via airdrop. So yeah,
Dave C. He's asking, do the V1 holders get any extra bonus for having our funds used for testing and refining the bot over the past months, or just the same amount of tokens purchased for V1?
So
you answered that already pretty much.
Here's what I'll say. It wasn't necessarily testing more so than anything else. We would have gone through that anyways. The best way that I can word that more so than anything else is that okay. I'm just going to say it like this. We're always in ongoing development. That doesn't mean that, you know, we're not at a finalized or finished product at some point in time. It just means that after, you know, the funds were received for V1, you know, and we unfortunately had the exploit that occurred. The fastest way for us to be able to recoup and recover all those funds was to use our already tested bot at that given point in time. We wanted a much more efficient bot, as we predicted, coming into a bull run, to be able to handle a lot more volatility than what our original V1 bot could handle. And turns out we made a really good choice in doing that. So in effect, we're going to continue refining the bot. And as we do so, you know, it'll have updates, and, you know, the NFT bot will get those updates as well too. But it's not a situation where we were like, hey, let's just close our eyes and test this. The Ray bot was always going to be a part of the farming strategy that we had in place. The NFTs were something where that was always going to be effectively our product too. that was going to go out the door. Unfortunately, we had the exploit that happened. And while it seems like we were kind of in a testing phase, we, in effect, slowly added the funds for the NFT bot side of things because we were running two different iterations of the same bot at the same time. We wanted to make sure it was going to work properly. And that's the only reason why we had a quote unquote testing phase for the NFT bot side of things. But as of July, like 4th or 5th, I believe it was, of last year, the Ray bot has had all of the funds in there. Like there was not a quote unquote testing phase, after the V1 exploit. It was we had tested the bot, we knew the bot would work, so we put everything in there because it gave us the best chance of returns in the quickest possible manner. If we would have split it up and done the farming strategies that we would have wanted now, it probably would have taken us at least another 6 months to a year to get all the funds back. And that's just how powerful this bot is. As for the V1 bot versus the V2 bot, that was a change that was made, like I said, to be able to handle specifically the volatility as we moved into the bull market. And turns out we ended up picking that up at the right time because we had that crazy spike in Ethereum and Bitcoin at the end of last year, in Q4 of last year, and the price just shot up through the roof. And it's a situation where our old bot wouldn't have been able to handle it the way that this new bot did. It didn't have the same capacity. It didn't have the same flexibility from us being able to adjust stuff. So we actually ended up being in a very lucky situation that, the V2 bot got, I think it was a month where it was able to kind of do its own thing. And then it was hit by that massive volatility, that massive spike. So yeah, all that being said, we're not really kind of testing the bot. We haven't really been kind of like testing the bot. We've just been doing updates to the bot. So like we had the V1, we're now in V2. We've done some updates to the V2 bot. So it's like V2.1, but it's, that doesn't mean we're, not making money or we're stopping anything. So I guess that's the best way I can kind of answer that. So it hasn't really been testing. It's just been the way it is. So I mean, we're not really going to have anything extra in terms of like V1 holders at this given point in time. That doesn't mean that we won't do something for V1 holders at a later point in time. We've still got the snapshot for everybody that was a V1 holder. Those that bought in at the pink sale, those that bought in, after the pink sale and we launched prior to the exploit. So yeah, it's very possible we could do something for you guys down the road. Like, maybe some bonus or something like that. I don't know. Like, I don't have anything in place for that yet. It probably would be sometime after we launched where I'd maybe start working on something like that. But as of right now, there's not going to be any like bonus allocation or bonus anything. I don't like just throwing tokens at people. I think that unless they're purchased, so like anything that we may end up having like in the wallet, it would just basically be isolated out. Because I don't like the idea of just giving away free tokens. I'm not a fan of that. I think it leads to very bad precedents, and all tokens should be purchased and have a dollar value associated to them when they end up in a wallet. That's just my 2 cents there. So
yeah,
I'm not saying that there won't be anything for V1 holders. I'm just saying at this time there isn't anything. That doesn't mean in the future that we won't do something for you guys as well too. Whether that means like you guys get some first or additional allocation in like, whatever project 3 could be, who knows? It also could be a situation as well too, where we say, hey, we're releasing our Bitcoin version of the bot. Every V1 holder that was in the that wants to get into the Bitcoin bot, instead of it being 1 BNB, it will be 0.5 BNB. I don't know. Like, I'm just, it's something we could do something like that. It just, and again, that's an example. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there's a lot that we could do. We're very flexible about that kind of stuff. So Sorry for
When you
the
when you do the airdrop, you're still gonna have a list of the snapshot, right? Like of all those
yeah,
wallets,
absolutely. Yeah, so we've got all those wallets and everything. It's
because
nothing
you
that
could
we need to
make.
worry about where it's like, "Oh, hey, who's our V1 OGs?"
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's what I was
yeah,
thinking. OGs, like something for the OGs.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah.
And again, that would be everybody that claimed in Pink Sale, everybody that didn't claim from Pink Sale, and then everybody
Mm,
that bought in prior to the exploit would be considered like V1 OGs. So, like if we end up doing, like I said, if we end up doing something down the line, and again, I'm throwing out the example because I don't have a good one off the top of my head. Other than that, like again, let's say we do the Bitcoin bot the same way that we had the ETH NFT bot right now, right?
mm,
And we decide, hey, instead of it being one BNB, OGs you pay zero point 0.5 BNB, or whatever. Again, just an example. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could be that. Who knows?
mm. Well, time will tell.
Time
Time
will
will
definitely tell. But yes, we'll figure out something.
tell.
I understand that you guys, had to kind of sit here with us and everything and just kind of, wait and wish you were getting things done. But it is very much so a case where, we absolutely will see what we can do to get, something for you guys. I'm not sure what it'll be, but we'll see what we can do. I don't want to make a promise that I can't fulfill. That's the biggest thing for me. I will look into it. I will do my absolute best, but I am not going to make a promise to you guys that I cannot keep. So
Mhm.
that's where I'll have to leave that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, the bonus will be that this is an amazing project, and it's going to start paying out some nice rewards in the coming months, and especially in the coming years. So
Yeah,
that's the bonus right there. But hey, Moon God will do everything in his power, and we'll we as the One Token team will brainstorm with them, and if we can come up with something, we'll do it.
absolutely. I think that just about covers it. I mean, I know it was a lot, and I know it's going to be a thing where people will probably have a lot more questions, but I think that just about covers it, kind of top to bottom.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
this was good. So when will be our next AMA?
So I believe it's what is it next week, or it's the first Tuesday after the first of each month. So let's see when that is. It should be, what is today, the 23rd. So it will be uh I believe May 7th is the first Tuesday, unless you can do Wednesday for some reason.
I mean, what day works better for you?
Tuesday definitely
Yeah,
works better for me.
Tuesday's fine with me. Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, it would be Tuesday, May 7th. The numbers will be obviously made available. We'll go over them in more detail
cool.
on the AMA and just kind of go there. Or we can do like eh, I guess what I'll just call like partial numbers or whatever it is, where it's like we'll do all but like one day's worth of numbers or something. Because
Yeah.
I think the last day of the month is actually Tuesday next month. Give me one second.
Ah,
Let me check that. Because let's see, April 30th. Yeah, April 30th is the Tuesday. So
ah,
we might be able to do all the numbers, but the 30th for that.
okay.
And then we'll do a slight
Hmm.
adjustment on like Wednesday. So like we'll have it be like numbers so far this month, and then Wednesday it'll be like numbers so far this month plus one day. So yeah.
All right.
Um, we'll let you guys know. I'll talk to Callie about it and see what's going on there. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be the next one is April 30th, and that
Cool.
is Tuesday next week. So
All right. Well, you guys are going to get to see us in just one more week. Man,
yes, it'll be fun.
dang.
Um, yeah. So I did just want to kind of go over again really quick, since we're here. Numbers for last week is 0.5% without compounding. On the Ray side of things are $145.
Mhm.
The NFT side of things was $567, 0.5% without compounding as well. So
Cool.
very, very solid week.
Yep.
We still have quite a few trades that we get to close out within about that 34 to 3600 range on Ethereum. We're kind of
Mhm.
slowly creeping back up there, and we should hopefully close those out pretty soon. So
Nice.
just figured I'd go over that again at the end here real quick, and
Mhm.
I
Cool.
appreciate everybody showing up.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you everybody for being here, and always a pleasure talking to you, Moon God. And thank you for being here and answering our questions.
Pleasure as always, Oliver. Have a great day, man. Have a great
All
day,
right.
guys.
Thanks. You too. See you. See you.
See ya.